Thank you, Shirley. Testing, test. All right, I've been given a very short timeline. I think we have overrun very greatly. So probably some of you have meetings, so bear with me for the next 15 minutes. I promise it's going to be 15 minutes. I made my slides as short as possible. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Terence. I'm the co-founder and head barista of Zeus Coffee. We started in 2019, roughly about almost 5 years ago. We are right now 538 outlets in Malaysia, and we have right now 40 plus outlets in Philippines and in Singapore and Brunei upcoming. So I'm not going to talk so much about what brought Zeus to its success today, but since aligning with Kelvin and with what the Coffex and the Mono team is doing, talking about ethical practices, talking about ESG practices, I think this is where I am going to bring my presentation into. And I'm going to start with this. I think all of us have, at one point in our lives, sat an aircraft. It always says, put an oxygen mask for yourself before helping those under your care. So what does this mean? This basically means if you want to help others, you must first look after yourself. So, which brings to my topic, scaling sustainably. Some of the things I said today might be a bit controversial, but take it with a pinch of salt. Why? Because what I'm going to say is that an ethical business is an efficient business. An efficient business will pivot an effective business. Anybody want to dispute? No. I think I drive a very fair point here. If you're ethically paying your staff, you're ethically sourcing your ingredients, you're ethically running your operations, you have an efficient business. Why do you want waste in your business? Waste comes in the form of ingredients. Waste comes in the form of time. It can be all this. So keep that in mind. Moving on. So, of course, we have all the pillars that is within ESG. Zeus is primarily focused on the environmental and the social aspect of things. So, if you are aware of the ESG is it? Well, I brought my ESG manager behind. She's waving over there. Yeah. So she's leading the ESG charge for Zeus Coffee. So these are some of the things we'll touch bases about what we are doing across Zeus Coffee and how we are going about it. So remember, scaling sustainably. One of the first things we start with is waste management. So what do we call waste? Waste of space. How many cafes out there where, I'm sorry, again, cafe owners, okay, your space. Actually, this place is a good example already. Think about it. How much space do you need to maximize your revenue? Correct? Have you thought about it? Every per square foot is cost. Every per square foot needs to be generated a certain amount of revenue to be able to be covered. Waste management, correct? For every amount of space that is not properly utilized, that is waste. So for Zeus Coffee, when I have run wasteful businesses before as well. I used to run a cafe that could house 150 people, but 80 to 90% of the time, that space is not being utilized. And I spent buckloads of money for that first investment. And then I asked myself, how can I make this more efficient? How can I take the same amount of money but open faster, open more? And that is the essence of what Zeus Coffee is. So our business model at its very foundation is all about efficiency. So if you see, from 150 outlet, 150 seating capacity outlet, we switch it up to this 300 square foot outlet. This is actually our first outlet in the heart of KL. In fact, it's underneath one of the condos. So we ask ourselves, do we really need an extravagant storefront? Do we really need such a big space? Do we really need the prime location? Can we utilize technology? Can we utilize delivery to help bring up more value to our customers? We put what we want in terms of ingredient quality into our cup, and the rest we save it on a space like that. So that was the essence of what started Zeus. So less material, less waste. So this scales. Imagine now I know that with 300 square feet of space, I can generate that many revenue, I can generate that many cups of coffee. All I have to do is replicate it. And the more I replicate, the more volume I have, the better costing I can get from my suppliers. Isn't that being ethical? I'm not wasting material. I'm not buying multiple materials just to make my outlet look clean or pretty. I'm just making it efficient. All right? So at the same time, it's always about high impact work. Always looking at the business model and asking what can be optimized. So we go down to anything that we ask ourselves, can this be automated? Can we save a step here? For instance, again, I used to run a wasteful cafe business. I had a very long bar. My staffs have to walk from one end to the other end to deliver the coffee. That's wasteful. That's a waste of human resource. That's waste time. What if my staff can prepare a drink within 3 feet by 3 feet of space, and they can keep churning? Speed, volume. Wouldn't that be more efficient? And that is exactly what Zeus Coffee is. We took that element out. We don't need big spaces. We optimize the space. Less is more. Having a streamlined menu and we are a tech-driven business. We strive ourselves as a tech-driven coffee business. Whatever we can insert tech into our operations, we do it. So that's why we built our own app. Our app is built in-house. We have a team of developers that are constantly looking at our customers. So for those of you, okay, who has the Zeus app here? You got poisoned. My marketing did a good job. But yeah, so that's the whole point. Accessibility. You can now buy Zeus Coffee from your app without having a Zeus Coffee within your vicinity and collect it later. How many people can do that? Efficient. I can take your sales efficiently as well. Correct? Okay, moving on. So remember when I said scaling sustainably? So another aspect of it, every time we produce a cup of coffee, there are used coffee grounds. I was just talking to Jason earlier. It's very admirable for cafes to say that we are using recyclable straws. But if you want your work to be impactful, do more sales, open more cafes. Make more money. Why? Then you can have higher impact work. Because the difference between saving one straw and the difference between saving 1,000 straws is completely different. And you have to understand why I'm saying this. It comes from this used coffee grounds. Imagine an average cafe can only do maybe 150 to 200 kilos of beans, if it's really good that month, of used coffee grounds. To be able to, that's the amount they consume. That's a very good cafe. But if you want to convert these used coffee grounds into fertilizers, into used oils, they can't use 150, 200 kilos. They'll say, how many tons do you have? How many metric tons of used coffee grounds do you have? Then suddenly you're like, oh, I'm sorry, I only got 200 kilos. We can't really work with you because our volume is too little. So do you get where I'm going to? You want to have high impact work, you have to succeed. You have to give out good value so that you can take advantages of things like that. So we are converting our used coffee grounds into biofuel. converting it into fertilizers. That's a norm. We have tried experimenting with coffee straws. I know our straws are very controversial. They melt and they are soft, but we are trying, we are aware. Yeah, so these are the things that we're doing. On the other sense, I am not particularly a fan of the PET cup, but it's the least that we can do right now while still looking aesthetic. Our team is looking at rPET right now, which is recycled PET. So slightly more expensive, but we are trying that option now. The cup lids, cup sleeves, rice straw, turtle friendly. Turtle friendly is marketing, by the way. Yeah. We are in the heart of KL. There's no turtles nearby. So, yeah. Okay, moving on. Recycling. So, we understand because our business is a very takeaway driven business, a very delivery driven business. So we're working with working with recycling partners to collect our waste so that they can reuse. So again, 1 cup versus 1,000 cups. So guys, if you're in business, please succeed so that we can help people more. It's always the fortunate people that will have to help the unfortunate. It's never the other way around. Okay? Moving on. Energy efficiency. So this is something that we have never really shared before, but this is actually underlying into Zeus Foundation as well. So we have IoT. Anybody don't know what IoT is? Well, basically, we use the internet to connect to our coffee machine. Our coffee machine talks to us, tells us what's the problems, tells us how many cups are we selling, efficiently calibrates the machine as well. We're also entertaining solar panels in our outlets and in HQ, really driving down our need for TNB. Then TNB is our national electric provider. And then, working closely with innovative coffee-related vendors. One of them being Kelvin. So we are already sourcing some of his single origin beans already. Some other innovative aspects of it is how can we make coffee last longer? So from green beans, they are stored normally a year. How can we make it last longer? Can we rehydrate the coffee? Can we freeze the coffee? Concepts like that so that we can widen or try to mitigate the rising costs of coffee. The reason why coffee is always rising is because there's a shelf life, right? And then the demand is always soaring, and then there's a shelf life. But how can we extend this shelf life with technology? These are the kind of things that Zeus Coffee is engaging in. All right, then as for the social aspects, we encourage our staffs to lose weight or be healthy. We're also running internal comms. So right now, across our 500 outlets, we have about 5,000 employees. So it makes sense for us to run an internal competition. Then some of the things that we also are very industry driven. We always try to give back to the industry in whatever ways that we can. So in this year, we also send a number of our team members to volunteer at the Malaysia's national coffee competitions to really drive the industry. Because what we see is that we have the volume for human resource. We have the number of people that's working under our umbrella. Can we then turn a number of these people back into the industry to help grow the industry once again? If today my baristas can say that, Terence, I used to work in Zeus Coffee, but now I'm working in a specialty coffee cafe, or I'm making a difference or I'm starting up a cafe. I think that's great news. I think that's what Zeus Coffee should be. It should be a platform to elevate the industry and not trying to just generate sales. Because once again, an ethical business is an efficient business that can be pivoted to be effective. All right? Yeah, so these are some of the things that we do. This is just the outlet managers. This was our town hall last year. Not many people have seen. So the managers, the HQ and the bottom level staffs, we organized a town hall. It was pretty messy because there's too many people. These are some of our social engagements. We reaching out to orphanages, We are very aware. In fact, right, I'm quite surprised with how fast our news in Zeus can travel. Sometimes we are faster than social media channels. Sometimes we are faster than TikTok or whatnot. Because we have outlets so many places, right? So our staffs can immediately, hey, there's a flood here. Then we know it before it even appears on Facebook. Yeah, so it's like we have our own intelligence network. So we are able to very quickly respond to that place and give flood relief. During the COVID period, we were also, because we were one of the fortunate ones where we were able to grow during COVID. Again, for those of you who want to know why and how we grow during COVID, it's a very simple thing. It boiled down to exactly what I said earlier. We were efficient and we were effective with the choices that we made in using the tools that we have, technology, delivery. So that's why during COVID, when all the other businesses did not have this pivot in technology and efficiency, we already utilized that before COVID. So which allowed us to operate successfully during COVID and grow our number of outlets, which we were able to give back to the community then. We were hosting on a weekly basis coffee runs to all the hospitals, to all the clinics, to all the frontliners, ensuring that our heroes stay caffeinated. Yeah, so, I told you. Yes, less than 15 minutes. Thank you.